pretty sure.
Yeah!
Gotta get their fast shot.
Yeah!
Gotta get their fast shot! There it is.
Hello Britball Nation, welcome to the power rankings following week 7 of the BAFA Adult National Leagues. Before we crack on with the rankings, remember that you too can contribute to the growth of the game by liking and sharing these videos, submitting highlights of big plays from the weekend, or help DC become sustainable by heading to gofundme.com/doublecoverage. We want to keep bringing you 7 days a week of all things Britball, but the reality is without the community support we're counting down the weeks before we have to scale things back significantly. That said, on a lighter note, some big changes in this week's rankings, so let's jump into them. Giants slipped to the bottom of the rankings through inactivity and the fact the Wolverines have appeared competitive in their recent fixtures.
10.
That looked painful. Farnham continue to show they're well off the pace in the Premiership South at the moment. They're finding ways to score and have some very talented playmakers on the roster, but currently lack the resilience and firepower to keep up with the other offences in the top tier.
9.
Two fairly competitive games for the Wolverines, so they've really got to avoid the late game collapses if they want to cling on to a Premiership spot heading into next season. Despite the long trip north of the wall, they actually led the Wolves for a chunk of Saturday's game, only to let the Scots run rampant in the second half.
8.
They continue to put up points, but the reality is the Nighthawks are also conceding far too many. They've got a stretch of away fixtures coming up that will probably determine their season, but at least no one other than the Phoenix has emerged as an obvious playoff team in the North just yet.
7.
The Pirates weren't active in the league this weekend but hosted a visiting US team, and it got ugly fast. EKP have shown they're not up to their usual standard yet this season, so bringing the Stags to town may have been a big ask. Still, Bapty and Muir have shown they continue to have a connection that should keep the Pirates in many of their games this year.
6.
A respectable loss from Bury? Only in Britball is a respectable loss a thing. We likely won't get a full picture of the quality of season the Saints have had, however, until they face the Aztecs in 2 of their final 3 games.
5.
A very strong second half performance from the Wolves have the cushier part of their season now ahead of them. Sure, we could argue that letting the Wolverines take the lead at the half might show the Wolves have some vulnerabilities even when playing hosts, but they also showed their mettle by racking up the scores in the second half.
4.
And very little movement in the top 4 spots this week, as the Aztecs season is still yet to really get underway and the other teams performed much as expected.
3.
Such as the Phoenix, who took a comfortable win over the Merseyside Nighthawks. They'll be pleased with the 50 burger on offense, but should look to shore up their D if they want to continue their march to the conference title and stand a hope against the massive firepower of the Prem South in playoffs.
2.
The Warriors still aren't looking quite as dominant as we've come to expect with them, but they're now focused entirely on the domestic game and they've got some softer fixtures coming up to build up great momentum before the rematches against the Blitz to round out their season.
1.
And no surprise, the Blitz stay at the top. Buoyed with confidence from their big win over the crosstown rivals, they thumped 64 on Farnham. Unless their pace slows significantly in the next few games, it's going to be tough for any team to dethrone them. And there you have it, nation, the rankings for week 7 of the BAFA National Leagues. As always, we're really trying to start a conversation with these videos, so don't be shy and let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Give this video a like if you liked it, a share on Facebook or a retweet on Twitter, as it only takes seconds but really helps us out in spreading Britball to the widest possible audience. Remember that as it's the BAFCA convention this coming weekend, there's no league fixtures and therefore there'll be no power rankings or highlights and probably no scoop. That said, DC are heading up to Nottingham for the convention, so we'll hopefully have an opportunity to bring you some insights from a really informative weekend. In the meantime, of course, as always, play hard, play safe, and make sure you check out last week's highlights where we had enough tape submissions to create videos for each of the 3 tiers.